Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the MuseCast episode 47, where we talk about Hurricane Debby attacking Cue the Muses. But first, let's talk about faulty equipment. You walked
Yeah,
in, your
I
mic
walked. I
stand is on
walked
the
in.
ground.
Yeah, I walked in my studio and this whole apparatus here. So we've got the boom arm happening here. This
All
whole
secrets revealed.
now now I can't get it out. Oh, but this whole guy here,
Yeah,
this apparatus was on the ground, laying on the
that's
ground in the
weird.
studio. No, we didn't have a hurricane down here.
How did it just pop out like that?
Well, it didn't pop out. I popped it out just now to show you the arm, but there's actually a clamp
Oh,
that
your clamp
that
came off.
clamps, and the clamp
Yeah.
like there's a little rubbery piece here.
Yeah.
So if you can see this little rubbery piece, this
Yeah,
used to be
yeah.
the
You
little
know,
on the thing, and I paid I think $15 for this stand on Amazon. I
yes.
got I think I've got my money's worth out of it. I don't dare. I've got the SM7 sitting on it,
Yeah.
which is kind of a tank. You can drop SM7. You could drop it. It's heavy. Sign of
Yeah.
reliability. If it doesn't work, you just hit them over the head with it. It's a good mic.
Well,
But
it's
I wouldn't put a condenser. I wouldn't put like a nice studio condenser
yeah,
on
if the thing keeps falling off. But with that being said, you're like, I don't have a nice one like you have that Rode one, and
it.
I
Yeah.
gotta tell you, it ain't amazing. I spent $130 on it, I think,
Oh,
and
wow.
I go on to because I'm like, I just want to get a legit one so I can just be in whatever position I need it to be in, and it's like it does work. I don't know how much better the other arms are. But apparently, when I started looking at, I got this one. I just was trusted that that's kind of like the entry level professional one, right? It's not
Yeah.
$15 Amazon. It's like I'm gonna get a professional one, but at the bottom of the barrel, and that's kind of it. This is it. And it doesn't quite get in positions that I'd like it to. The SM7 fits weird because of how the XLR input on it is positioned. It makes it complicated. So I had to get another little I got an L bracket for it with an XLR. See, it's an
Yeah.
L
On my phone.
XLR that then goes to the regular XLR. So
Yeah, I
let's see
see what
if
you
I can
got. I see what
kind
you
of
got
see.
going on.
So that's how I'm kind of dealing with that positioning thing. But that being said, when I started researching it, like people have like $300 ones and they're like, yeah, there's no good podcasting boom arms. Like they have like the 350 and they're still like it's still not that good. So I mean, I know that like I see the one I can't remember the brand, but I see because I'm not going to spend $350 on it. Just I mean,
No,
this
no.
works. My
Yeah,
point is that your
this works.
$15 one ain't
This
too
works.
shabby, and it operates the same way, man. Like you just pulled
Yeah.
it off. I don't know. Here, look, it's the same concept. I just
Yeah.
if I can
Yep.
get it far enough. There, look, it's just the
Yeah, it's
same
got a little.
concept.
Yeah, it's got a peg.
It's
The
the
peg sits
same
down
build.
in the
You showed me
hole.
that little flap. I have the
Yeah.
same shit. It's the same thing,
Oh yeah. Yours
but
is,
mine says road on it with this cloth here. See
and it's
that?
very cleverly placed road, so it's
Yes.
always in frame in the video.
Yeah.
And
Always
this one,
sponsoring.
see, this one's probably just what's inside of the road. They just sold this at a premium low price
It's
of
basic. I'm sure. Now
14.
that being said, like I went with Rode because I have all Rode mics for my shotgun mics on for my filming
Yeah. No, the
because they make amazing ones for the
NT1.
price.
Are they they're not NT1s. I'm sorry. NT1 is,
NTG 4s
yeah.
and NTG 2. That was what I first started off with. And then I've got like a Rode video mic, and then I've got a Rode video micro mic. So I've got five. Yeah, I have five Rode mics,
Yeah,
and
we did the last podcast at your place. We both were
ah,
speaking into
that's
the
right.
roads. Yeah.
That was two NTG 4
Shotgun.
pluses. Yeah.
Yeah, great mics. Great
Yeah.
mics.
Yeah. They're awesome. I'm actually curious when I start recording music again, hopefully in the next couple months, to try it out just as an additional mic source because they are so directional. I'm kind of curious with them on an acoustic guitar,
Mm,
not like solely that, but like an additional mic that might
yeah.
have some kind of sound to it. I don't know. Maybe
I
it's
have
worth trying.
a fun segue now that we're talking about using odd mics for recording, for tracking. So earlier tonight, I don't know if you had a chance to listen to it. Earlier tonight, I sent you a email titled "Song Idea," I think.
Yeah.
So
I have not gotten to hear it yet.
no, but that's fine.
Lay
But
off, man.
when you listen to it, what I had done is I was getting ready to track in here. I did some mixing earlier today, and I have in the other room over there, I have a cab set up with 4 mics on it. And the 4 mics are split between 3 different preamps. So I've got 2 that run to the WA-173. Then I've got 1 that's running through a PreSonus and 1 that's running through a 003. They're 257s, an E609, and one of them is the nice the Atlantis, the Lawton Atlantis
How
mic.
much is that E609? That's a relatively cheaper mic, right?
It's like comparable to an SM57 to a 57.
So it's like $100 to $150 mic, right?
About 89 to 120.
Okay.
There's another one that's a 906. That's a step up from the 609. I've never tried it. I like the 609. It's not my go-to for that's not the mic, but it's like a good mic to mix, because it's like I use 57s on everything, but it's just another flavor. It's a little it's hard to explain. It's just different from the 57 on a guitar cab. But anyways, I was in here and I double up from the 1073, and this vocal mic was on. And my intention when I started tracking this guitar track, so I used 3 of the mics that are in the other room on the cab, and I had this mic queued up on a vocal track, and I was sitting here with my guitar, and I was thinking I was going to track a guitar and kind of sing a little bit of harmony at the same time and do 4 simultaneous tracks, 3 guitar tracks on the cab, and then the 1 vocal track. What I ended up doing and realizing when I'm sitting here, I was sitting down playing the guitar. This mic was on hot with a hot vocal track. This was picking up. I'll put it down. Like I ended up
like a little room mic, huh?
Like this, a room mic on the electric guitar. And I read an article like 30 years ago when I was a kid in Guitar Magazine about trying a room mic in the room you're playing the electric guitar to get the string attack to give you a different tone. And this one particular piece, I have one section in it where I play the guitar and then I slap a harmonic on the 12th fret. You know, if you take your finger, tap the 12th fret up high, you'll get that harmonic ring with your right hand. I do that in one section in there, and just the sound was different. It was unexpectedly pleasing in here with my headphones on, tracking with this vocal mic on the guitar. And I was like, I'm going to experiment more with that, because I do that. I track in this room playing, and the amp is in the next room loud.
Right.
But there's noise in here from the guitar, and it was pretty musical. Fairly musical.
Pretty interesting. Yeah, I'm very curious. Okay, so that's that. Are you saying that that's in the sample that you sent me?
Yeah. So I sent you.
All right,
I sent you a bounce. Yeah, I sent you. It's just a mono bounce. Everything.
I'll be like, how the fuck is he making this sound?
You'd be like, it sounds.
I
really
can't
stupid.
do it. It's like 2 guitars at once, but he's only playing one because he knows I gotta play guitar.
The drawback is you can hear me breathing too, because it's the vocal.
Gross.
So I tried to like minimize that. But a cool thing though is you do hear the chair. You know, like I was sitting in the chair, which I don't normally do. Not in rhythm, not at all.
Well, how am I going to play to that? There's no metronome. You're just uneven rocking and pacing, breathing. Sounds like a shit recording.
Actually, it is a shit recording. It's all based on my delay time. There's a little bit of a delay on it. So you got to follow the tap on the delay.
And be like, what the hell is all this? Well, I look forward to criticizing it more deeply.
Really?
No, it'll be fun. Actually, I saw the title as like song idea or something like that. And I'm like, dude, I haven't heard it yet, because I've been, I got back. I actually went to acupuncture earlier. I'll talk about that in a second.
Oh, nice.
Immediately went back into packing up gear, saw that email come out. Like, I don't have time for that. But I was like, I'm scared to even open it, because if you mean that it's a song, is it a song idea for Cue the Muses, or it's a song idea for you? So
I was torn. And I'm always torn, but here's the thing. I wrote it today. I wrote it a half an hour before I sent it to you. And I think the reason I think it's good for Cue the Muses is, one, I feel that it's in that realm. And two, when I wrote it, it's one of those things where all I was doing was hooking my guitar up and making sure I had good tone and just kind of noodling around. Hadn't actually played my electric guitar in quite a while. It's been probably 2 weeks, maybe, since I picked one up. And next thing I know, I've been playing the same thing, trying to work it out for an hour. Not
Hmm.
working, not doing the mixing
Yeah.
that I was doing,
Well,
but
that's
like,
why I'm scared for you to send me stuff like that because I'm not done. I want to finish chapter 3
yeah,
and
yeah.
then because you're like I've told Dick this many times. It's like I cannot turn it off if I start opening the door to like writing music.
Hmm.
It's extremely challenging for me to like, I mean, I'll like, it will take over. I do need to be working. I do need to, and so the last thing I want to do is get sucked away because I cannot turn it off once I start going down a rabbit hole because I don't know if I'll ever come up with it again. That's the problem. It's not like I'm just deciding that like, oh, I really want to, but if I start figuring out something, for
Yeah.
me, I will not stop until I run out of ideas because I can't necessarily ever have that moment again. I'll have a different moment, but if
Hmm.
magic's happening and I'll before you know it, 2 or 3 hours will go by because I'll spend a really long time on each part. Like I don't mind. I'm not even thinking about the time. I just get that sucked into it. And if the ideas keep coming, I just don't turn it off. I try to document all of it and
Hmm.
reanalyze it. But before you know it, I get sucked into a tunnel and I'm not tending to some of the other things that are also things I want to do too, and I'm a little scared to listen
Well,
to it if you think that it's
and
Key of the Muse
and
alley.
that's, but that's also why I sent it to you, because it was one of those things. Like, I was
Yeah.
picking the guitar up, playing something just to play something, and then honestly, I played a different piece from a song that's a Dave's Last Night song in the works, and it's hybrid picking, and it's one that we
Okay.
worked on. It was actually last year we worked on it for a little bit, and we shelved it when we record the album. So we're pausing, but we've got 2 weeks with me up there coming soon. That's going to be writing, and that's what I started with. But then the hybrid picking thing branched off, and it was another riff. And like I
Mm.
said,
Well,
the
exactly. Exactly,
same
Dick.
thing you
Because
said. It goes once it's on, and I can't help it either. But
right.
I feel like mine are shorter spurts than yours.
I think so. I
I
think so. I think you can do it and then like you'll kind of get to a point where you're happy with it quicker than not. I mean, just like you're faster at coming up with ideas. Plain and simply, it seems to be that way. Like it's not that I'm intentionally trying to take a long time. There's just something about the way that it comes
Sure.
together where it takes these long spans of time where it's not that I'm sitting there mulling over it as much as it's like something's still happening. I'm still riding where this is going,
Mhm.
and it just takes hours will go by, and I will before you know it, a week's gone by. I've been working on a song that nobody is waiting for, and I need to pay bills, and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's
So
just a
so
little
the
tricky. I have to
the
figure it
deal the deal is you're not allowed to listen to it with your guitar.
out. Well,
You
I
can only
definitely am gonna do that. There's
you can
no
only
way I'm gonna listen to that song with the guitar in my hands. There's no way. There's no way, dude, because it will suck me in.
Oh, I
Well,
gotta I
hey,
gotta
yeah,
no, I was gonna say one other thing.
yes,
I got a text message this morning from Jeff Withers, and the guy that plays guitar with me and Dave's last night. He sent me random thing. He was like, he sent me a text. It's a song clip, and he says, I suck at the piano. So like it was like something like I suck at the piano. I was like,
and then it's amazing.
he said he's
Hmm.
it's a full song, and is a it's unbelievably good. It's like just
Really,
him with his phone playing the
yeah,
piano piece, singing. the the piano's beautiful.
yeah,
The parts are beautiful. The vocal lines are beautiful.
yeah,
The lyrics are unreal. Like,
yeah.
so good. So good.
Is a very talented person. He's got very good ideas, and his singing is very good too. He's like I remember hearing even just recording. I can't remember what the name of that particular project was at the time, but it was while we were writing Cue the Muses and stuff, and it was like shit, man. Like that's that it sounded really good and really different than anything I'd heard him do, but that wasn't why it sounded good. I think he consistently does stuff that I'm very partial to. A very talented writer, and I know that he's playing a heavy hand and coming up with the songs with Dave's last night too. And
Yeah.
I think those songs sound amazing. So that's really cool. I'm very intrigued, and I look forward to hearing this piano piece
I
that
think
he will.
I think I'll email you that one, and
Yeah,
you can allow yourself to listen to that one.
yeah, because I'm not writing on it, so
Yeah.
I can listen to music. I just if you tell me it's something to come with a part for, that's the problem.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can't turn that on.
Segue next. What were you?
Segue. So we started off the episode. This episode's even titled "The Hurricane Debby Attacked." Cue the Muses. And for those that have keep up with us on personally on our pages on Facebook, they know that Hurricane Debby hit Tallahassee, Florida. It did not do that much in the grand scheme of things. This was extremely mild compared to the tornadoes that actually happened
Category
a few months ago.
category one. Category
Category
one. Right?
one. We survived the tornadoes, and we did have downed trees out here. So Rough Cut Productions is on my property. We have a few acres out here. It's heavily wooded. And so Rough Cut Productions is a separate building that's on the property. And we got our house out here. Trees definitely came down during the tornado, but they were all in the woods. I mean, really, there was a couple that
Mhm.
went in the front woods, but nothing touched a building. Then this mild little tropical storm that kind of just edged out to be a hurricane comes through. And we got like, I mean, a tree just nicked the edge of where our house is, where our sauna shed thing is, and
Yeah.
but it almost hit the house, massive tree. And then this huge, like, I don't know, I think it's around 80 foot or something tall pine tree fell, right on Rough Cut Productions. And Rough Cut Productions is divided in half. So right now where I'm at, this is the office area. This is where I've got the computers, hard drives, cameras, data. The other half is dedicated to being Q the Muses Laboratory and also holds like a lot of rigging equipment, stands and the lights and stuff like that for filming. But that's where the laboratory that you see in the Q the Muses show is happening. And that is the side of the building that the tree fell on. And I honestly thought that if one of these giant trees that was directly behind the office ever did fall, that it could truly just fall right through the whole building. Because this building, I don't know. We moved out here. This building was already here. I know that a few corners were cut, and I just didn't think that
Mhm.
I thought there was a good chance that would happen. Luckily, it really just caused roof damage. And then during that time, it was leaking into the laboratory. There was water leaks happening.
Mhm.
But that's it. No equipment got killed, no cameras, no hard drives. Everything's okay. Um, and then, but I did have this massive hole that was going to be leaking the next time it rained. And that's when you came to the rescue, and then Jason Cupp, solo Cupp, came out and contributed too. Your son Kyron came. My son helped out a little bit, but I got to be honest, not in an
we,
amazing way.
we
It was very much you and Jason, were
we made it.
really sweating our asses off up there.
Yeah, it was hot, man. I mean, we made a day out of it. We made a full day and a half, almost a half.
Right, right.
And, and a lot of it was horsing around with Jason because, man, Jason gets around. He's so funny. He's such a
Yeah.
fun, like, just a good person to be around.
It
I've
was
never worked
so
with
nice
Jason
that he came
like
in.
that. Yeah, I've never
Yeah,
actually worked with him
me
like
either.
that. But I've hung
Yeah,
out with him and go to the gym with him, and he's just a good energy kind of person to be around. And man, it was awesome. And
it was. It
and
was.
it I needed it too because I get one track mind when I work. Just like you're talking about when you write songs. Like if Jason hadn't have been there and it was just me and you and I was going through, like, I probably wouldn't have taken a break other than to drink water and maybe eat something. But
Yeah.
he it was like my inner mind was like getting frustrated almost because he was segueing so much, having a good time. But it's hard for me to shut that off. It's like I'm not actually at work. Like I'm
Right.
helping a friend out and we're having a good time. But it's so hard for me to turn it off. It's like
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
say, okay, horsing around, time's over. We got to get this done. You know, it's
Right,
like
right.
that's the inner voice that screams in my head when I'm doing that.
Yeah.
But I do have a good time doing that type of stuff.
Yeah. Well, and
It
then
was fun.
we took our lunch break, but then right after that it rained, and then that
Yeah.
knocked us out for like an hour and a half. And in that time, you know,
Jason
we
got
showed
Jason.
we showed Solo Cup the just or the music video that's gonna come out hopefully at the end of next month. I mean, I'm set back a week here, but we're all still good. I'm gonna get back on it. I'm playing a little catch up now for missing a week of work and all that. But yeah, and he had some pretty hefty compliments to say about it. I must say it was pretty cool because he's literally you have seen it, and
Yeah.
now he saw it, and Kyron saw it, and my son's seen it, and my mom has seen it, and that's it. That's the entirety of the universe that has seen it and stuff. And he really, I mean, it was really cool to hear him react the way that he was. And so, I mean, I think we have his full endorsement that this is a quality song that we're releasing in the next one.
Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
I'm excited about it. But hey, you know, I did make a little edit that was us doing the tree cleanup. I put it on Facebook, but we do have a little bit, we have other people that check us out on YouTube here and Spotify, because we put this up as a video on Spotify, and they may not have seen it. So I was going to cue that up real quick. It's just a few minutes, and this is kind of showing the scenario, you know, the trees and everything. So here we go.
Hell yeah.
Tree fell on the office. Cleaning it up. These guys came out fast. Miller's Tree Service. We got Tim on it. Came out within an hour of me calling them to assess it, and then they're here the next morning. This tree fell and hit two other trees, and they all intertwined. Three giant pine trees all falling on top of each other. It's the only one that went on the office. That's actually hovering over where the laboratory is for Q the Muses. And leaks were happening inside. I got to do roof damage, you know, this repair this weekend, which Dick's going to help me with, thank God, because I don't know how to do any of that. And so Dick's going to have out a little bit of help, and we'll try and get the roof repaired this weekend, hopefully, and stop the leaks from spreading. It hasn't been the funnest few days. But these guys are good, man. They already took out two of the trees that look super tricky. We're getting it done. Getting it done. None of it would get done without this man right here. Because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just here to hold stuff and fall through roofs. Quit filming! Yeah, Rough Cut Productions / Q the Muses Laboratory is being rebuilt. Repaired.
Bigger and better than ever.
That tree was not a friendly encounter at all.
I love trees, but some trees are just assholes.
They are. Actually, really fortunate that it didn't crush the entire studio, and all we're doing is this roof repair. Super fortunate, but it still sucks. The groin?
The groin pull.
Groin pull.
Slowed my skills down.
Dick pulled his groin doing jiu-jitsu about a month ago.
I'll bring it. I'll hold it.
He still feels it when he does fun stuff like this.
Still had a big stretch. Always have your water, kids. Never leave home without it. I prefer the sippy cup.
I'm just thirsty. I don't have any water up here. I'm thirsty. I'm sweating. We got this fan though, so pretty cool up here. We got Jason Cupp down there.
And day by day, no promises. Life will never be long enough.
There he is. Came to help. See that? Singers do come pay their dues. You hear that, Cody?
Noxious thoughts that aren't my own. Still, they're all I know. Making me their faithful own. Your fate is unknown. But no matter how much heat I make, can't burn it down.
There it is. Tighten up. That's the only shot I'll show.
You gave it all you had. You gave it all you had. So if my soul is an element and my dreams will never die away.
That's such a rad video.
It's a fun little memory. You know, it's such a cool way to have a memory documented like that. We did a family vacation like 7 or 8 years ago. And on that vacation, it was like a bunch of us, a bunch of my wife's brothers, sisters, friends. It was like 12 of us.
Mhm.
And I filmed a whole movie. I mean, I came back and literally ended up taking, and this is what I'm talking about. I get too addicted to my shit. 4.5 weeks. I took off from any paid work and turned it into a 30-minute movie called Gatoronymous, Quest for the Legend. And I swear to God, it's on YouTube. You can find it. I've never shown it to you because I wanted you to know my family better so you'd actually think it was cute. But it was pretty funny, man. I mean, you know, so I like stuff like that. But that was a fun little memory to have. And I like how I listed it as a carbon fiber panel.
Yeah, I
instead
saw
of a
that.
fiberglass panel.
I saw that the first time I watched it. I chuckled.
Yeah.
I said, it's not a carbon
It's
fiber.
not a carbon fiber. I totally like, you know, I did that all in. That was a 3-hour edit, 3.5-hour edit. You know, go through the footage, put it together, export it. So
But that's bitching though. And I gotta say, like, one of my favorite parts in the video is the subtle call out to Cody,
isn't that funny?
who never showed up.
Cody had
we
truck
love
trouble.
you. We love you,
Never
Cody.
loved it.
We
I love you, Cody. I'm just joshing with you. It's only funny because it's not like he owed me the help or anything. He just was like in contact saying that he was coming to help. So it was like classic. He was the singer in my band for a long time. And, you know, something came up. This crazy
Classic Buzzword.
situation happened. Yeah. Well, that's why I made that joke to Jason, too, because notoriously singers don't help load in. You know, they've only got a mic.
Yeah.
The band gets there.
That's what I'm saying. Jason's a different kind of not that anything against Cody, but Jason has always been
He used to help.
he's just a different kind of Jason's a different kind of person.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to go too deep down the Jason is awesome rabbit hole, but he is a really genuinely good guy.
I felt it was really impressive to me that he came out and helped the way that he did, you know, because it's not, I know Jason, I've known him for a long time, but it's not like, we haven't gotten up and like hung out just me and him before, and he came out and busted his ass like that and stuff. So now I gotta have more. I gotta do
Yeah.
something with this guy.
Yeah. You know what? What is there's a big UFC fight they're building up to soon, right? Is
There's one this Saturday. I'm not hosting that one. My buddy is. And
Is that Izzy
yeah,
fighting the middleweight? Okay. Yeah.
yeah. But to be honest, like the card is not like a mind-blowing card. I think there were some better fights on it, and it looks like they've had to switch it out a bit, which happens.
Mhm.
It's going to be cool. Like I'll probably make it over to my buddy Graham's to watch it, but
Okay.
it's not like the one that we're waiting for, like that's a great fight. I'm very interested in that one fight. There's a
Yeah.
couple on there, but it's not like an all-star card like they have sometimes where it's like, guy, we got to watch this one kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
thing.
I try to follow now guys from the top team. And I'm not deep into it, obviously, because I don't know who's fighting when, but I did retro go back and look at a couple of the recent UFC fights, and a few of like the prelims in a couple of the previous fights had guys from the top team
Okay.
fighting in it. So
Yeah.
that's gonna be like my mission, because that's gonna be cool. They don't train with me
Yeah.
necessarily, but we're all in the same kind of family, as part of the Brazilian top team family.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have some guys at my gym that compete, and not necessarily full MMA. There's a few like good top level jujitsu competitors that are really good, but
Awesome.
there's a few of the guys that are actually in the UFC, which is cool. I want to start following them.
Yeah. I've heard of Top Team. So how many different schools are
Well,
they considered to be a part of?
it's confusing because I'm a member of the Brazilian top team. There's also an American top team, and
Okay.
the American top team I think is a little, or at least it used to be a little more prevalent in the UFC. But
Okay.
there's at least one Brazilian top team in like most of the major states. So there's a top team Boston. I go to Brevard County, the Melbourne top team. There's California, Oregon. There's one out there. There's New York, Michigan that we train. We have guests come from the top team like in Ohio, up in Cleveland and stuff. So it's nationwide. I mean, it's
Yeah, totally.
pretty big extended family, and I think there's probably 40 to 60, I think,
Oh,
overall
wow.
that train at my gym. Yeah,
Yeah.
not
That's
in
awesome.
any given class, but it's pretty big.
Mm-hmm. That's really cool, man. Regardless of next month's card being like amazing, every card has the potential to be a great night of fights. So
Yeah,
regardless, and maybe next month we'll do one here, and use it as an excuse to have out some buddies. Maybe we can get over. Well, God, especially if we could at least maybe we could get Russ over here too, so he could see his. Oh, whatever. I mean, like, look, if you've made it
oh, you
this
got all
far into
kinds.
this episode,
Yeah,
Russ is on the next song, man. I mean, like, if you made it this far,
yeah,
Russ Skinner, from Your Captain Speaking and Old Sinister Nasty Band, like, amazing singer. He's on the next one. You'll see. I mean, you're gonna know the second we put out a poster for it to start
well,
hyping it up.
and we've put a poster up before.
Yeah, all the singers are listed on the
it's
main
hanging on
page.
your wall back
If
there.
you
Yeah,
go to our website, you can see every singer that's on here.
and
Like it's not like a crazy.
if you don't know who Russ Skinner is now,
Yeah,
you're about to, because
you're about to.
man,
Yeah,
I'm not even trying to toot my own horn or anything, because I'm part of the project, but his performance is stupid.
it's so good.
phenomenal.
It's like everything I liked about rock that I liked listened to so much growing up. It's like he's that voice.
Yeah,
He is that classic, like just that is the sound, man. I mean, I don't want to typecast him as sounding like other people, but he's like an amalgamation of so many bands, singers that I loved coming up. But and that makes it his own thing,
yeah,
because he's an amalgamation of it, not just, oh, he's
yeah.
singing just like blank.
and it's not. It's like I can't wait for people to hear it and give
He
their
sounds
opinion.
just like Scott Stapp.
It's so much perfect, perfect, perfect fit.
I'm just kidding, buddy.
He
I'm
doesn't sound
just
like a
kidding.
modern rock. He doesn't sound like a
No.
modern rock vocalist.
No, he doesn't have that, you know,
Yeah,
the big extended lower
yeah,
jaw like my underbite. He
yeah,
doesn't sound like he has a giant underbite. No,
yeah,
yeah, he's not that. Um,
yeah.
but it's gonna be fun, man. I can't wait to put that out. We'll start talking a lot more about how we're releasing that because we're gonna do all that a bit different than we've done in the past. And yeah, that's the look and sound I'm going for. If I see a singer audition and he's walking in with a jaw like that, I know we're about to rock out.
Captain Underbite's finna. We're in the weeds.
We are
Bring
in
it
the
back
weeds.
in. Bring it back in. Russ
Um,
is singing on the next episode, guys.
Yeah, Russ is killing it on that.
Coming out
And it's a
next
fun story. I mean, this is the thing. It's going to extend the whole thing. So if you haven't, for some reason, haven't seen the first 2 episodes in their entirety, check them out because the story links. You know, this is chapter 3 coming out. So, yeah, it'll be fun. On another note, I did want to, I hate to bring it down a step, but I did want to just mention that I did lose a friend a couple of weeks ago, and he was the designer of the Super Duty Trans Am, and he also designed the 70 SS, both those cars, which is a Chevelle tribute. And those are videos. I made videos of those builds coming together and him working so heavily on designing those and stuff. And unfortunately, he is no longer with us. I went to his memorial the day after we finished the repairs, and I was really thankful and happy that we were able to finish the repairs on Saturday, which allowed me to be able to go to his memorial on Sunday. And I said a few, I expressed a few sentiments about him and there, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to do that. But really cool guy. His name was Tom Sawyer. If you're curious about, you may have already seen him. He really is in the videos that have generated the most plays. The only video that's generated more plays was the Burt Reynolds one that we did for the Bandit. And other than that, the top 3 videos are the other 2 that have him in it, and we're talking about millions of plays. So his work has been really appreciated by car enthusiasts across the entire planet. And so it's really cool. He left his mark in that fashion. And I do think that those videos are like him at his best, like they're kind of him at the pinnacle of he created and spent years making these things, and he's in good spirits in those. And so, it's a cool way to check back in, and, it immortalizes him some. I have not watched them fully again yet. I mean, it's still a little bit too close to home for me, but
but that's like it. You captured his legacy almost.
Yeah, yeah.
Part of his
That's
legacy.
right.
Yeah.
He was an interesting fellow, man. He also designed rock climbing gyms. That's actually where he first started learning about like the engineering aspects and CAD and stuff, is my understanding.
Yeah, no,
He was
that's
designing rock climbing gyms.
That's huge. Yeah, that's like it, I've seen and I've been to 1 or 2 of them, the indoor rock climbing gyms, and like the cruise ships down here have them.
Oh, wow.
I've seen a couple of these big cruise ships, and when you see the back of the boat, like sometimes it's like 3 and 4 stories high, like maybe even more than that. They're huge. I'm curious, like what kind that he did, because those are
his were. I think he did some up north. I think on the East Coast, and I think he did some, I believe, some in the Midwest as well. And what's crazy is actually a little side tangent here. Right after we completed the first video that I did with him back in 2017, the Super Duty build, we had bonded. I mean, that's where we really became friends. We started going down the rabbit hole, had amazing spiritual conversations, life conversations, that talked about the universe and all that stuff. I mean, and we were on very similar pages on a lot of that exploration together. We talked about health and all kinds of things.
Sure.
He, having designed those rock gyms, had this amazing idea that I'm not going to say the full idea. It was his idea. He basically wanted to invent a way of doing this. But I will say this: he was going to do basically do something that would revolutionize the way that the rock gyms were created, and the style of, and it was a great idea. And maybe, I don't know, it's still worth somebody doing, but I'm not going to say it here on this podcast. But what it was going to involve is that he was like, dude, I I need a cameraman out there to do it the way that I want to do it. And we have to go to the first one that I want to go to is El Capitan. And I don't know if you heard of that, but
I've heard of
that,
I've heard of it. I can't think of what it is, but El Capitan I know is like it's a famous one.
yeah, it's a notoriously like hard basic. There was a movie that came out right around in the same year that he was discussing it with Alex Honnold, who is like this crazy freestyle rock climber. He doesn't use clips
Yeah.
and carabiners. He just does it with his hands, which is insane.
To know he does do it like several times with the safety stuff first.
Yeah, and then he does it freestyle.
Yeah, he doesn't necessarily go in completely blind.
You're
not
right.
not to
You're
take
right.
away from him, but that just kids don't go climbing without
Don't. Well,
safety.
Jesus. So this was the thing is that he wanted me to go out there and do this, and he needed a camera guy, and he said, but you'd have to like I could set it up where all you have to do is rappel down, and you don't have to actually climb it. And I'm like, so you want me to physically rappel down El
While filming?
Capitan? Yeah.
Oh,
And I thought about it for like, he had multiple interested parties that were going to fund this, you know, and turn it into a whole thing that would be sold around the world. And this was a starting point, and it would have involved me to get out there. And I thought about it for about a week. I said, I didn't give him an answer right away, but that's how serious this was. And I told him, dude, if you like, we talked about it multiple times, and I finally said, I'll learn how to rappel. Let's do it. I'm in.
yeah.
And so then we went from there, and it never manifested. But I went through the whole, you know, turmoil in my head of thinking about if I fell, my kid, you know, I didn't have Felix at the time. It was just Tristan, but nonetheless, it's like Tristan will grow up without a dad. Is this worth doing? Am I just being like, it sounds fun and I like the excitement and the risk, and I've never done something like that. But I was ready to do it. I decided I was going to do it and face my fears and grow, you know, and but it didn't happen. So it's kind of a story with a non-climactic end, but to go through all that mentally was a hell of a trip, you know.
But it's a shame that, you know, it would have been and you should still do it where I'm going. That's where I'm going. You should.
Oh yeah.
You should still do it for a like a Tom memorial type of thing. Not right now. I'll do it with you. I've done very minimal rappelling. I've worked with lots of people who do rappelling.
Yeah.
And it's not, there's a couple of different devices. If you're talking about filming when you do it, that's a whole other monster.
I know.
Right?
Well, and the other, totally. And it was going to be crazy. And the thing is that right now with technology advancing the way that it is, there's different options right now than there was just in 2017, you know, like on how to do what he was talking about doing, where, you know, there's a lot more tools available that we could use. So anyway, well, maybe I'll do that. We'll see. Now I've got a 2-year-old too, so I'm like even extra like I want to be around. I'm all about the longevity game now. Like that's why I'm taking so many vitamins and supplements and studying all this shit, because I'm like, man, I don't want to be an old dad. You know, I'm not, you know, ditching on old dads, but I want to be the healthiest. Like, you know, I need to apologize for something in the last episode. It was pretty bad. I want to apologize to myself. I said I was 42. I'm not 42. I'm 41. I'm 41, and I'm sorry, Ash, for saying that I was 42. So I just want to extend that apology to myself. And I'm still a young buck, ready to go. No, but when Felix is 20, I'm gonna be fucking 60. You know,
don't think about it. Don't think about it.
Well, that's why I'm like, I'm gonna be a young fucking 60. Like, I want to still be able to, you know, beat him up. If I can still beat him up, we're good.
It's, you know, you got to be able to beat up your kids. You know,
I'm saying, I think it's a marker of health. When you can beat up your college-age son at 60, you're doing pretty good.
You're gonna be, you'll be there, man. You're on the right track.
Yeah,
you're on the right track. I think you could definitely take Felix now. I can't speak for Felix when he's
half the time, but sometimes he sucker punches me in the dick and it just takes me out. He just comes up and literally all of a sudden just punches me in the balls.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He's got the right height, right?
Like,
He
what?
like
He's
just comes up.
totally,
Wow.
that's his level. Yeah.
He's mad because hey, I'm walking around hanging out with dad, and this every time I turn around,
He's
and they're like,
laughing. He thinks that we're playing. He doesn't get how bad it hurts, you know?
yeah. Oh no, they never do. They never
No.
do. Kyron used to smack me in the face when he was little, and like
Totally. They love it. Don't do that.
he,
That's too much.
he still does. But I was training with Kyron the other night, and
Yeah.
I love rolling with my son. And
Yeah.
the coaches at the academy, they know it too, because I go up. There's other kids that are there that are the same age as Kyron. They're at a higher
Mm.
skill. They're at a higher skill level. Like there's another kid that trains there. His name's Tony. And he's phenomenal. He's a little athlete. So he's a little bit
Yeah.
shorter than Kyron. Kyron's 5'8" now. Tony's probably 5'4", but he's been training for like 6 years.
Yeah.
And he's unreal. He smokes me, right? And I have to
Yeah.
use my strength with Tony to not die,
Yeah.
to not lose. But I can't. It's bad etiquette, so I don't use all my strength, but I try to use a little bit of strength just so he's not humiliating me. But then trying to figure out. But when I roll a Kyron, it's a little different. He's my son, so I go a little harder on him.
Yeah.
Not in an ugly way, but like the coaches watch me, but I always like get almost there and then stop, and I'll purposely do something like a little silly, and then let Kyron capitalize on it. And boy, when he finds an opening on me, it's like getting dad, like
He
choking
goes for it.
me
Yeah.
in the ribs, like bruises, and stupid, like little bastard.
That's
But
good though. That's
it's so
good.
it's so fun. And
Yeah.
he's got like a, what do you call it? He said, Dad, my buddy told me I got a sleeper body. And I was like, a sleeper body. He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, cause Kyron's all cut up. He's all shredded up. He's got 0 body fat, but he's not big, but he has 0. So when he takes his shirt off, he's got like a 6-pack and his chest is defined, but he
Yeah.
always wears like these baggy big shirts. So you can't tell. He just looks like a
Yeah.
scrawny little kid, but he's all shredded up underneath. I was like, well, we'll get him I told him, I said, we'll get on the weights. We'll do some lifting, get him on the bench, get him on a regimen, and because he's got good genetics right now. So it won't take much to add healthy weight
Well,
to
this
an
is
already.
the age
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
This is where you're telling your frame what it wants to be for the rest of your life, and your muscle memory will always come back so much faster than somebody starting that from scratch at a later point in life.
Oh yeah. And I wish I had done it, because I didn't start sculpting or doing anything. And I'm by no means am I any definition of a male fit physique. I do okay, but I'm 40.
do
And
okay.
I didn't start till I was 30.
Yeah, yeah.
So I never worked out until I turned 30. I only worked. So when I was younger,
Right.
I got in okay shape just for working out, like doing the work like we did in the video. Like that's what I did when I was young.
Yeah.
But man, if I had started, I'm going to get him to start, he's just going to have an edge.
Yeah.
By the time he's 20, 22, he's just going to be ridiculous. He'll probably be a monster.
And that's the thing, is I want Felix to be like an adversary for when he's 20 and I'm 60 and I still can take him.
Yes.
I can still pop him in the face, flip him on his ass.
If he holds back, never tell your dad, Felix. If you hold back when your dad's 60 and he beats you, never tell him you held back.
You have to tell him that. I can't tell him that.
I'll have to have that talk with him. In about 6 years from now, I'll have to sit him down and have a stern talk with him.
Plant the seed.
What will he be in 6 years? 10, 12? Well, how old is he now? 2?
He's 2, so he'll only be 8.
Oh,
yeah.
Probably 12 years.
Tristan turns 18 in a couple of months. He just ran 8 miles. He's a runner. He likes running. He's been running. Yeah, dude, 2 years in a row now. For the last 2 years, he did run before he started helping us on Saturday.
Yeah,
He got up early to run.
Kyron was telling me about it. He went for a run with Tristan, I guess during the afternoon when we were working day 2.
Oh,
he
no
was
shit.
like, and Kyron was like, "Hey, Dad, I think I want to start running." It was
Oh,
pretty
that's
cool.
funny. Well,
Uh,
that would have been Tristan's second run that day. He's kind of getting way in. He ran 8 miles the other day,
insane.
nonstop. I was like, I've never run 8 miles.
Ah, I've I've done. I think I've done 10.
Oh, wow.
I think I've
I
done
can't do
10
that anymore. That breaks
once.
my back. I always
Hey,
get
I've
back
done
issues.
10 once, and
Yeah.
my knees hurt. It was with
Yeah.
Tim Matthews. I think
Okay.
it might have only been 6. I can't
Was it
remember.
kilometers? Was it 10 kilometers, which
No,
would be
it
like
was it
six
was
miles?
it was miles. I can't remember. I honestly can't remember if it was 6 or 10. I
Yeah.
ran with Tim. I can't remember how many laps we did at the little park in Crawfordville, but it was like him and I got together one day and we did it. And he does it all the time. And I
Hmm.
kind of went in dry, like I stretched and I did the thing. And I ran through some pain. I had a couple things happen, and I get bursitis on my hip, and a
Yeah.
bunch of old guy stuff. My
Well,
knee
that's,
starts burning, but I made it. I mean, I made it all the way
yeah,
with no stops. And Tim was like, "Oh, you survived. Good job." And I was like, "Yeah, we'll see tomorrow."
that's the
And
thing.
when I was laying down to go to bed that night, I had to elevate my legs. My knees were on fire. It
Yeah.
was like typical old guy stuff. Running, long distance running is not my thing, but
No, it's not
I
mine either.
encourage you. That's awesome that Tristan is doing
Yeah,
it
yeah,
now,
totally.
starting now at
That's the
18.
thing. That's the thing. I think he'll have a foundation for it because, like, I mean, I messed up my back again 2 months ago, right before the month before we went on our vacation, and I was dealing with back issues the whole time because the problem for me that messes my head up that doesn't make me know what's me being older or just having a screwed up back is that when I was 29, that's when my back went out, and it's never been the same since. So I've been dealing with back issues all through my 30s.
Yeah.
Now I'm 41. So every time the back acts up at 30, I felt old all of a sudden, and I was like a super. I mean, like when I'm not in pain, I can do too much. Like I mean, I get myself in trouble because I mean,
Yeah.
I'm very capable if I'm not in pain. If something's not messed up, I can do too much, and that's kind of what I did a couple months ago. As I was running, I knew it was a hard ass run because I'd already worked out. I was already like totally had exhausted myself. I did weights, then I hit the bag, and then I was like, I'm gonna run too. And I was like, I knew I could keep going, and I did keep going, and then my back was screwed up for the last. I just went to acupuncture today. This is my third acupuncture visit, and I've also been to the chiropractor trying to get my back to normal. I was doing pretty decent when we were doing the roof, but it was a bit of a challenge. I just didn't complain about it. It wasn't that bad. It's gotten better,
Mhm.
but it doesn't take much to reset it back off. So something's out. But this acupuncture is interesting. I've never done acupuncture before. I've been more of a chiropractor guy. And I'm trying out acupuncture because I've heard so many miracle stories on it. But the guy says roughly like he wants to do basically somewhere around 10 to 12 visits, and then we'll make a serious assessment of the progress that we were able to make in that amount of time. I'm like, all
Okay.
right, let's go for it. So
Yeah, I'm really,
I
really curious to see what kind of results you get from it.
yeah.
I don't know anything about acupuncture other than it's kind of a cool like idea.
Well,
Like,
one thing that's interesting about it is that it's here in town. It's Tallahassee Chinese medicine. I'm using the physician that I'm using is Dr. Craig Thomas. I've heard really great things like miracle stories about stuff that he's done for other people. And he's really nice. It's a holistic approach. So he's like approaching the whole. He's asking. I mean, when you fill out your forms, you're listing everything from diet to your exercise routines to might have even asked about stress levels and things. So he's like a total Eastern philosophy approach on every metric level, not just what hurts. So it's
mhm.
like trying to figure out the whole thing. And he's like recommending supplements. He's recommending, you know, for Amy in particular, she's trying it too. He's recommending very specific things for her about how to pace out workouts, when to work out, sleep schedule, different, a lot more than I even know because I'm letting her, that be her personal, journey. But
Sure. Yeah.
it's interesting. It's definitely a different approach. And I like the idea of talking about things on all those levels because to me, that's the way I that's why I don't like going to doctors much, is because I don't like the approach of just like, what hurts?
They're drug
Let's put a
dealers.
Band-Aid. Yeah, that's
Yeah, they're
basically
drug
it.
dealers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's either operate or give you drugs. And it's
Yep.
like, well, is it possible something I'm eating is causing this? Is it possible, my position or my movement through this, or my sleep, or, what can we discuss those things? And I've mediated so many issues over the last, in particular, last 12 years, ever since that back shit happened, that forced me to have to go on this pursuit of figuring out things that can help. And that's what really got me back into meditation. I meditated when I was 17, 18, 19. I meditated relatively heavily with Tai Chi. We would do hour and a half of meditation for every practice that we did, and I was going 3 times a week, and we were doing double sessions on certain days. Like that was Tai Chi, Wing Chun,
Yeah,
and
Tai Chi's
Choi Li
great.
Foot.
Tai
It's
Chi's great.
very cool. It's great. But I didn't, at that age, trying to meditate on that level, it's a different thing. Like when you get
Mm.
older, you value the meditation more, I think, in general, because you know how much you're having to break through and shut down and quiet down in the mind. When you're that young, everything's just getting started. You're not conditioned like a robot yet to go to work every day and execute this and live up
Mm.
to this responsibility. And you think about what's your future goal for this. You're much more present already. And I still got amazing experiences in that. But when I revisited meditation, because of my back and just trying to deal with it basically emotionally, like feeling like so old all of a sudden at the age of 30, and then touching these
Mhm.
pockets of being able to do everything I could do just last year, and then it being robbed again from me 3 months later because my back would go out again, and just over
Mhm.
and over and over again for years. When I revisited that meditation, it was amazing. I mean, it's been life changing, and I've stuck with it ever since. And so I usually meditate when I'm really on track. I do somewhere a minimum of 10 minutes a day, which I realized you can actually do a small session like that. And a lot of times, I'll try to go past that. And sometimes I'll do like a deep 30-minute meditation, and that's about it. I don't, it's very rare to do longer sessions than that, because the consistency gets you to where you can unlock it faster. If you do like these long sessions every once in a while, like once a week or twice a week, I think it's harder. You need that longer session to get back into it. Half that session, your brain's still running a million miles per hour. But if you
Yeah.
practice it every day, even for shorter bursts, you're constantly, and multiple times sometimes, even for 2 minutes here, 1 minute there, you're really conditioning yourself to start thinking that way. So you start bringing it into your waking life, not just when you close your eyes and sit on a chair.
I feel like the only time I can do that is like playing guitar. Like we talked about in the
Uh-huh.
beginning of the episode, playing. That's the only time my mind shuts down. Now, granted, I haven't gone through the pursuit that you have to get to that point of being able to sit down and meditate like that. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not it's kind of a vague thing to me, and my expression of meditation is just when my mind is active. And you tell me if this is an accurate explanation of how you pick it up. My mind is awake, but it's not actively thinking on anything that I'm particularly trying to think about. It's like it's just surfing on a wave, and the wave's going wherever the wave's going. That's what happens to me when I play guitar and I get into a state of like writing, because I'm not thinking about what I want it to do. The good writing that I do, I feel like when I'm doing my good writing, I'm not thinking about where it's going. I'm just riding the wave. And my
Mm-hmm.
mind's not necessarily, my hands are working, my body's doing something, but the brain isn't. I'm not thinking about, okay, what I got to do in an hour. This is what happened at work. Usually, like when I go to sleep at night, that's when the tape plays.
Mm-hmm.
That sometimes, not every night, but it's bad sometimes. And looking for a way to shut it off is tough, because when I lay down at night, sometimes the tape starts playing, and then there's
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of things come in. Sometimes it's good things, sometimes it's not good things, sometimes it's doubts, sometimes it's, accomplishments, but whatever it is, the tape plays, and
Mm-hmm.
that that isn't meditation. That is anxiety, right? And
Yes.
playing guitar, my mind coasts and it goes through things, but there's absolutely no anxiety. All that goes away. And it's just
Mm.
like a single thought that carries from point A to B. And I feel
The,
like that's like the goal of meditation, right?
it there's so
Kinda.
what you're describing with the guitar is there are similarities. It's kind of, I would describe that more as a flow state. So a flow
Mm.
state where you are totally in the moment, all other things drop away. You're it is an extremely meditative like experience. I'm not going to say that it's not meditative. Direct meditation is this, like when you're saying that you lie down and you're kind of all that tape starts playing, the experience of meditation is almost really witnessing all those aspects and thoughts and concerns, and just even if they're not concerns, they could just be general thoughts. You get to this state where you're literally watching all of that go by, and it's basically like a separate entity from you. You're like bearing witness, but you don't exist. And it's like, imagine a metaphor for that could be like your thoughts are clouds and you are the actual sky. And so clouds go by and you see them go by, but you're the entire sky. And there's this sensation that starts to come over when you can get to that place. And a lot of times, most meditations, they don't, they kind of demand that you don't even move. So,
Yeah.
one of the toughest things to do is to sit still in a room by yourself for an hour and do absolutely nothing and witness everything, the freight train of thoughts that is your entire, what seems like is you. And then you start to acknowledge, oh, those are like patterns. They're not actually me. They're things. They're fleeting. And it starts to become this, and your goal is to not think. But in doing that, you witness all the thoughts that you think are you. And then that detachment, it starts to, it relieves, it provides a lot of stress relief because you realize all those things aren't you, and that you're sitting in this whole life experience, and though you can choose to let those enrapture you the way that they do when they trigger all the chemistry in your body that happens, or you can actually turn it into whatever else you'd like it to turn into. By literally just shifting the viewpoint, it becomes a whole other thing. Like, the glass is half full versus half empty kind of thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
but in
Yeah.
a much more, in a much grander experience. And the goal is that hopefully, you're not, you get to this point where you're not even thinking about that. This is just what kind of happens. And it's like, but to some extent, I'm also trying to describe, it's like somebody trying to describe, to an extent, it's like somebody trying to describe an orgasm. So, like, we could talk about it with words all day long, but if you've never had one, you don't really understand what it is, right? Like, there's no way to encapsulate that in words.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You could explain it a million different ways
Yeah,
until it's like the first time you take well, close your ears, kids. We're an hour in. The first time you go on like a psilocybin trip, you
right.
know,
There's a lot of
like
similarities there.
right. How different is yeah, the idea before going in to a trip would be okay, you're gonna see elephants, you're gonna see things that aren't there, essentially. It's like, well, no, you see everything that's there, everything just gets distorted, and then your mind thinks that there's something there. So
Mm,
I feel like sitting in a room meditating for an hour is something that would be extremely challenging for me.
exactly. Yes, that's exactly right. And
Yeah.
but the thing is that, dude, that's an example of like maybe how much it could be beneficial for you, because one of the hardest things to do is to do, that's hard for everybody. But
Yeah.
there's people that it's even harder for, that are super active. We're very, very proactive people, which is
Yeah.
why I found that I need the meditation even more, because I can now turn this off. So I like fall asleep. I can fall asleep in general 99% of the time. I can fall asleep within 5 minutes, because when I go to lay down, I go through the process just like a meditation. Even though I'm laying down and my eyes are closed, like I detach from all and witness everything, and then I can usually fall asleep within a few minutes. That was not the case. I used to have insomnia, because my brain will just keep going,
Mhm.
So it really assists as a sleep aid too, but that by no means is like the end singular goal of it. Like it's really every time, whenever we mentioned, exercise, nutrition, those are the best things for stress, but meditation really is in there for me. It's one of my three pillars, that I would connect to those things to get through and build my foundation for everything else. Because when I go for stretches where I don't have it, I'm much more scattered. I'm much more stressed out. I have a lot more anxiety. So it's a great thing. It's not everyone has to do it, but a lot of people, even if they just do prayer, if you're religious, a lot of people do prayer. These can be long sessions of deep introspective thought there and conversations with God. I don't feel like you're approaching it in a different way, but at the same token, what you're really doing is you're forcing yourself to stop and be in one spot and not allow yourself to get to do something else to keep your mind occupied. And you're
Mhm.
honing in on just, there's no getting away from the dragon of your thoughts, and it's like kind of facing some of those things. And where there's a dragon, there's always gold. They're always guarding gold. And if you defeat that dragon, you find the gold.
Yeah, and in some of the dragon stories, there's some that aren't guarding gold, right? Chinese dragons don't guard gold,
Some
do
are
they?
guarding dildos.
Those are the kinds of dragons that I'm after.
I I know you are, Dick. I know you
Yeah,
are.
that's where they stole my name. Those thieving,
Dude,
those
in that
thieving
video,
ridden dragons.
in the video, I just wanted the excuse to say Dick's groin as many times as I could. And then I
I
got to write it out and type and actually show your groin. I was having so much fun with that. Dick's
yeah,
groin injury.
I chuckled pretty hard. I chuckled pretty hard at my groin injury.
Yeah.
I was I need to see where it goes with this acupuncture thing you're doing to kind of circle
Yeah.
back because you're talking about meditation with this acupuncture that you're doing because I want to find something that I can do for my neck. It's not as bad as
Okay.
your back. It's not as bad as your back for sure.
Yeah.
My neck doesn't go out, but I injured my neck sometime in January or February at a show in Tallahassee where I had some alcohol in me and I picked Curtis up,
Yeah.
Kurt Rogers. I picked him up into a fireman carry and didn't, I think I've told you this before. I didn't do it right. I went in just silly drunk. Oh, Kurt's only, 150 pounds. It's like picking my girlfriend up. It wasn't. And he didn't cooperate. And I forced it and I tweaked my neck.
Yeah.
And like it's bad. I feel it every day. I feel it every
Damn.
day. In class, I was rolling with another blue belt, Gonzalo, and didn't even do anything. He just had pressure. Like I was like kind of half side control. He was doing something, and he had pressure on my head on the floor. My head was on the floor, and he had pressure something like a shoulder or something, and just pushed my head the wrong way where I was trying not to go, and I had to tap because it hurt my
Yeah.
neck.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like, man, what in this
Yeah.
sucks. It's like
That does suck.
I'm over it. It's 8 months later.
Oh, dude.
It
Well, you
sucks.
should try you should try something. I mean, a chiropractor can be amazing. I mean, I can vouch for that and my chiropractor and what he can do in just a couple of sessions.
Mhm.
Ironically, I talked to my chiropractor, and this guy that I'm going to for acupuncture, they used to share the same building that I've been going to for the chiropractor. They
Oh,
were
really?
both partners, and they're like totally on good terms with each other. They just both had so many clients, they needed their own space. But I was like, that's crazy, man. So he's like, I totally if you're doing acupuncture, that's who you want to go to. So I am trying that out. I can vouch for chiropractor with the neck. I had a neck thing this last year, and literally, I'm walking out of there, and by the end of that night, after having left, I mean, it just started. I was like, I had my neck back by the next day, single session. So, if
Mm.
something's out of alignment and you don't get it back in alignment, that there's just no way of getting around it. It's just not it. The longer you let it sit like that, the more muscle memory is being designed to just decide that that's how it lives. You want to get
Yeah.
it back into alignment sooner than later, so it's not learning to behave that way. Because once you get it back in alignment, if you let that sit for 8 months, a year, then your muscle memory is going to want to go there again when it gets twisted. So the sooner you get it back in, the better. And then you might have it go out again. Then you got to get it back in to where you can retrain the muscle memory that that's how it should be.
Yeah, it's so. I need to go. I need. It feels like a muscle thing, but
Uh-huh.
the fact that it's lingered this long is
Yeah.
making me think that maybe it's not
Because
just
it
a
pushes
muscle.
in and then it makes all the muscles sore around it because it's living in with your spine out of position. Potentially, and 99% of the time, that is what's happening with something
Yeah.
like that. If it's muscles that are directly connecting to where your neck are, then that's what's happening. You got stuff pushing and pinching nerves and stuff like that. So you want to get it locked back in. But I'm trying the acupuncturist for the muscular aspect to see if he can basically reset the muscle memory that's been conditioned around my back that has gone out for so many times for so many years and wants to keep going out. So now I'm open to still going to my chiropractor to keep it in alignment and then use the acupuncture to program the muscle memory, and because they can in theory reset it that way. So we'll see. I'm trying it. I can't vouch for it yet, but I can vouch for the chiropractor.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
let's do like a weekly update. Are you going every week? A couple
I'm
times
trying
a
to
week?
go once a week. Now
Okay.
that I missed the last 3 weeks, which sucks because we went out of town. Then all the stuff happened with Tom, and then the storm happened, and then
And Debbie. Yeah.
yeah. So it's been a stretch. I don't like that. Maybe I'll have to do 11 sessions. We'll see.
Well,
But yeah.
let's do like a weekly update on the MuseCast, and then when I'm
Okay.
up there for a couple weeks, maybe I can try and schedule an appointment because I've never been to a chiropractor ever.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
I always thought it was like I can do it myself. Like, listen, my neck. Did you hear
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can pop my neck. And
But that doesn't. Yeah.
somebody told me the other day, popping your neck is just like I just did. It is a bad thing that is your body. You trick your body into attacking something that isn't there. So the pop is like an immediate euphoric release. It feels good. Oh, that feels better. But then what happens is your body thinks that there's an injury and it sends the inflammation receptors in there. And then it actually, over time, I've been told, causes more pain, like popping joints. And I don't know if there's any validity in that. When I grew up, I don't know if your parents told you this. They said, oh, don't pop your knuckles. You're going to grow up and have arthritis if you pop your knuckles. And I've heard other versions of that same story where no, it doesn't. These days, I think it's from when I started training, when I always pop my knuckles, like the main knuckles, and then I would go through and I would pop all of these knuckles too. Pop, pop, pop. Now, sometimes if I try to pop those knuckles, these knuckles, which is that knuckle popping, it hurts so bad. And like, it's like, oh, I don't want to do that. But I think what's happening is the grip, like the grip strength, causing stress on my hands, which is causing, the little bone, the surface bone fractures that happen.
Yeah.
And then the bone heals over. It's like a constant thing that's happening
Right.
with fingers that they hurt when I do that, but they don't hurt in general. And honestly, playing guitar today, I feel a noticeable difference in the grip fretting, like in a positive way,
Stronger
I
grip.
feel, yeah, it's like, it's not anything noticeable to really talk about for too much, but I want to pay attention to it because I've seen some like videos of like some of those really top level jujitsu guys. There's one guy in particular that I watch his channel on YouTube. It's Chew-Jitsu, like Chewbacca, but it's Chew-Jitsu, and the guy, he calls himself Chewy, and he's really, really cool. He's funny. Kind of looks like Ryan Reynolds, he's like a jujitsu Ryan Reynolds guy or whatever. But when you watch his videos and look at his hands, his knuckles are like obnoxiously large compared to the inner parts of his fingers.
Uh-huh.
Like every knuckle just looks like it's been broken and healed back weird, and it's got
Right,
these
right.
crazy hands. I'm like, oh, I don't want hands like that.
Well, we
I
probably
gotta-
won't get them just because of the years it took to get that and how much
yeah,
training
yeah,
that dude did.
I'm
But
sure.
you know, and I know we're way deep and we're going to end this, but I did want to just respond to the one thing. I don't pop my knuckles. I don't know to not do that. I did stop doing it a long time ago, and I used to be able to do it, but I don't do it at all anymore, just because I don't know if it's worth doing or not. But it is totally different, the knuckle popping versus like spinal readjustments. And when you say that you can pop your neck like that, dude, I can pop my back right now. I could easily pop my back, but I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, I think I know what I'm doing. I've tried a lot of times and I kept messing myself up because I'm
Mm.
just twisting stuff and getting it to pop. But I think it feels like I need to go this way and that. It is, I'm just messing it up, and then I won't be able to move for a week and I got to go to a chiropractor.
Ooh,
So it's like, just because you can get something to pop doesn't mean that you're putting it where it needs to be. And that's where the chiropractor comes in to play on that stuff. And last thing I'll mention, this specific chiropractor I found out about from the owner of Trans Am Worldwide, Todd, who takes his son, who is a jujitsu guy. He's grown up doing jujitsu, and he gets him back up and running within a session. So,
ah,
and his son is wicked good, dude. He was ranked #3 on the planet not long ago for his belt and weight class.
no,
Just last year. I'm dead serious. He's going to Paris and fighting around the world. And he just moved up to a new belt about a half a year ago. So when you move up to a new belt, I think that's when you have to like kind of start at bottom ranks and work your way up again. But
yeah,
dude, he's
it's
really
a new
good.
division.
He's grown up doing it. I filmed him 13 years ago as a little kid doing jujitsu class. He's been doing it the whole time. He's like 20 now. And he's like really one of the, for his weight class. I mean, he's trying to become, the best gi jujitsu guy that you can be, so he's on that road. But
Yeah,
he goes to this guy for chiropractor wherever he's out. So this
yeah.
guy's
Sign me
good.
up. Sign me up when
Yeah.
I'm up there for work. I'll take a day and we'll go
You
up
have
there.
the first session, you got to book them a month in advance.
That's
But once
probably
you're
probably a
in,
month out. Probably a month out from
yeah,
where I'm going.
I'll give you
Yeah.
his contact. I mean, I might as well hype this guy up. Dr. Cal Melton here in Tallahassee, Florida.
Okay.
And if you just look that up, you'll find his practice. But yeah, it takes about a month usually to get in your first session. And then once you're in, you can get a session booked within usually a week. And if somebody cancels, you can get in.
Dr. Cal Melton.
Yeah, Melton.
I'm looking that up right now.
He's awesome. And you'll like him too. He's nice. And he was the guy, he
Oh,
was on FSU. When you saw people on the sidelines, I mean, he did a stint there where he was one of the guys on the sidelines with FSU football players during games, getting them back on the field.
oh,
And he's
cool.
got pictures of MMA guys up around that he helped get back up and running. They're all signed pictures of them thanking him for getting them back into this. They were able to compete again and they won. They're holding up their championship belts. So he's a sports guy too in a major way. So that's why I like him.
Oh, right on. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm in.
Cool.
I'll call him. Tomorrow's Friday. I'll call him. Well, today's
Nice.
Friday. When are we releasing this episode?
We're about to be, yeah, totally. We're all on track. I'm going to start packing up. I got to go film at Trans Am tomorrow. I got to pack up these lights and this camera and throw it on top of everything else I have set aside. So
Hell yeah. Well, good. Great talk, man. Good talking to you.
too,
Be
man.
safe tomorrow. Don't let any more
Yes.
trees fall on the studio.
I'll chop the next one myself. I'll just block it. It's a bonsai.
All right.
Cool,
Thanks
man.
for listening, guys. We're out of here.